This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
Welcome to She Wasn't Born Yesterday for women who are 40 plus fabulous by the Empty Nest Chicks. I'm Janet Evans, ex-M&T Saatchi advertising creative, who have won numerous radio and TV awards. Not that that'll affect us because we're doing a podcast.
And I'm Dr. Amelia Haynes, who has been a medical doctor for 30 years and specialising in sexual health and mental health and relationships, and I'm generally a very useful human being.
Well, we'll find out about that, but we are here to work together.
People tell me on good authority that I am.
Really? Yes, well, they never say that to me, so I think we're the perfect hosts for She Wasn't Born Yesterday. When we think of influencers, I think we imagine people who are sort of quite young. And in fact, the average age of the current global influencer is 27. Although there is a 92-year-old grandma called Lillian Droniak, or Grandma Lil, who has a following of more than 7 million people. However, today we are absolutely delighted to talk to a 40-plus very fabulous, we must add, because we can see her on the screen, even if you can't, if you're listening to this, influencer. And her name is Renae Leith Manos. Welcome, Renae.
Thank you.
Well, we're very, very excited to talk to you because I don't think a lot of people, Dr. Amelia, really know, including us, know what an influencer actually is.
Yes, I was very keen to hear what happens behind the scenes because I think everyone thinks that, they don't know very much at all, and they tend to think that someone like Renae would just have a selfie stick, take a photo and stick it up, and that's kind of all there is to it. But knowing Renae, which I actually do, I have to confess that, I know there is a lot more that happens. And so I wondered, that's why I thought she'd be great on the show, that she could actually tell us some of that.
Some of the reality.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think anything is what it seems. I think that's what we learn once we hit sort of 40 is that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in life, and I think influencing is certainly one of those areas.
Yes, right. Renae, I was very impressed doing a little bit of research on your brand. It's very, very impressive. But let me just read it out, what your brand sort of stands for, your sphere of influence.
Sure.
You are an entrepreneur and founder of Renae's World. Where to from here? An upscale travel and lifestyle brand for women over 35 who are affluent, educated and spend on eating out, 5-star hotels, beauty products and new trends. I'm sure that's us, Dr. Amelia. She's laughing. A professional journalist, luxury travel commentator and coach, passionate about the people working in luxury hotels, restaurants, spas and brands. Renae, my first question for you is, this sounds like the ultimate dream, perfect job, but what's the actual reality?
Yeah, it is. Look, it absolutely is. And I really fell into it. And it's easy to think, I just, have a pretty face or whatever. And that's how I fell into it, which is not the case at all. I am a journalist.
She does have a pretty face though. But anyway, carry on.
I'm sure that helps.
I went to university. I studied a degree. I worked for Rupert Murdoch. I worked for Kerry Packer. And then all of that world fell apart, as anyone in media knows. And I actually decided to launch a different website, which is still going, called Bondi Beauty. And that's for young women under 35. So I guess in many ways, you might call me a digital pioneer because it's been going over a decade. And that's all about health and fitness for young women. But it got to the point where I was no longer in that age group. And I really, although I still love health and fitness, I wanted to do something that really focused on my passion, which is travel. And as a young journalist, I'd spent a lot of time before I had my twins traveling the world, reviewing hotels and reviewing restaurants. And I got divorced when my twins were very little. They were 2. And once they sort of, were older and I felt that I could leave them and I, had a shared custody arrangement, I thought maybe I can go back to that sort of my real passion, which is luxury hotels. And basically that's what I did. And I launched my brand, Renae's World. And I started to, contact a lot of my old contacts. And the wonderful thing about Europe particularly is that all of the same people were still there. It's not like Australia where people, or even today where people move around a lot. Even now, you know, the clients and people I worked with 20 years ago are still at the helm of some of the most luxurious hotels in the world. So they knew who I was. I wasn't like a newcomer to the scene. And quickly they started to invite me to review them. Yeah. And I started to review their hotels on my website. And of course, these days you have to have the social media platform as well. So it's really kind of blossomed from there. And Renae's World's been going about 6 years. And interestingly, what's evolved now that we've had COVID and such huge changes in the global travel industry, is they need a lot of support. They need support to retain staff, to find staff, to, you know, modernize things, to change the food and beverage. And because I literally spend my life on and off planes and staying in hotels, I have a wealth of information that's very unique. Even if you're running the best, you know, hotel in the world as a general manager, you don't have the time that I do to get on planes and go and experience things. So a lot of my time now is spent standing in front of the staff at these luxury hotels and talking to them about the trends I'm seeing, the way things are changing, positivity, inspiring them, all of that sort of stuff, which goes hand in hand. Doesn't mean I've stopped being an influencer or I've stopped reviewing hotels. I've really now got two arms to my business. So it's really fascinating. And this has literally just evolved before me.
Wow, this is, to be perfectly honest, it's fascinating, but also slightly intimidating.
Yeah.
Would you say? Yeah, just slightly. And I feel that actually most of the women listening to this will be going, oh my goodness, like that sounds like a lot. And I know that you do work incredibly hard. I was going to say, give people actually, once again, you are a pretty face, so that, you know, if they do look up Renae's World, they'll see that and maybe discount how many hours that actually goes into the photos of the pretty face. Give us a feeling for how many people are around you and how many hours you would do, and do people contact you or do you contact them? All of those kind of things, Renae.
Yeah, well, look, it's a whole combination of things. In terms of how I build the relationships with hotels, as I said, I have a lot of them. And of course, if you have a relationship with one hotel, it's part of a big group. So it just sort of evolves that they contact another general manager and you tend to go to a lot of them. I've recently been in Thailand, for example, on a work trip, and I went to Phuket and I went to Bangkok. So I went to Rosewood Phuket, which I would rate as probably one of the best resort hotels in Southeast Asia. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I went there for 3 nights because you need to stay in a hotel for 3 nights to review it. Otherwise, you're really not getting a true snapshot of the staff, the feeling, things that can go wrong, all of that, because I like to have a lot of integrity with my reviews. So, yeah, I went there, and to be honest, I worked relentlessly, because when you see a video of me on my Instagram, of course, you know, it might go for 20 seconds, but it will probably take me like half a day of filming to actually get that 20 seconds, and then I have to edit it. So I find that during a stay, I'm on my phone the whole time. I take all of my notes in my phone. So I take notes about the food. On that trip, I interviewed the chef. I had lunch with the general manager. I worked out every day. I'm really into health and fitness when I travel. That's the only way that I can actually stay sane, because I work really, really hard. So I get up every single day at 6 a.m. Even if I flew today to London, I would get up in London tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's just the way that I do things. And if I'm really tired, I'll just walk, but I'll walk, 20,000 steps most of the days that I'm away, because I find that I need that energy, and it gives me that clarity to do all of the work, to take all of the notes, to do all of the filming, to do all of the observations. And of course, when I left Rosewood Phuket, I then went to another hotel called the Slate, which was amazing, a family style hotel right near the airport in Phuket. But of course, I can easily get confused if I haven't written enough notes and taken enough images and videos. Yes. It's like, hang on, which one's which? Because then after I left the Slate, I went to Bangkok I did it again for another 2 hotels. So I recently went to Europe and I did 42 nights in a row of reviews. I like to try and stay at a hotel in between that I'm not reviewing, at least a little bit, just to sort of have some downtime, because it's really, really full on.
Just to put a full stop, in what you're doing. Yeah.
So do you prefer to stay at like a backpackers if you've got your downtime?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
I do. I like to stay somewhere really basic. Yeah. Maybe not a backpackers. But...
Or maybe a friend. Do you, you must have lots of friends.
No, when I stop, I don't talk to anyone. When I need a break, I don't want to stay with friends, because I don't want to, I've just talked myself into the ground, and I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
And I just want to be in a hotel where no one's going to talk to me. and I can just like eat whatever I want. Because don't forget, I eat a lot of rich food.
Yeah.
Because when you're reviewing a hotel, you have to eat. You can't say, oh, I only eat green leaves. So I fast as well. That's one of the other disciplines I have to make sure that I just don't gain weight and that I stay healthy. Discipline is a major underpinning of this whole influencer sphere for me. It probably doesn't look like it online, but I'm enormously disciplined in order to look good, feel good, have the energy, get on planes, get off planes, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not what it seems.
No.
Do you work on your own, or do you have some people to sort of help organise your diary and all that sort of thing?
Well, it's really interesting you ask, because I'm looking for someone at the moment. I'm looking for a virtual assistant out of the Philippines. I can't find someone yet who's got the pace, because I need someone who's got a global outlook and very quick, because I'm quick. I just don't have time. Like I said, once I move on from one hotel, I'm on to the next. I don't want someone who says, oh, I need to take the day off. That just is not going to work for me. But I also, Bondi Beauty, my other channel, my other website, has evolved into a platform where we train mainly young women who are at university. And I know that when I graduated, I just wasn't job ready at all. And I'm finding that is still the case all these years later. And these wonderful young women, they're getting perhaps honours in their journalism degree, in their social media degree, in their marketing, even computer science. And they have no idea about the practical application, like writing a headline. How do you get followers on Instagram? How do you take great photos? It's really interesting because the universities are so far behind in this space. So I get these great women, and at the moment we have 8, because we're doing a program with Macquarie University and they're giving us their interns. And we have a meeting with them every Monday, and then they go off and we train them in every aspect of digital management. So how to be an influencer, how to run a website, how to send a weekly newsletter, how to run, there's so many. There's Canva, there's Headliner, there's probably 9 different apps that they have to learn. It's quite a lot, but they can also help me with Renae's World. So sometimes they help me by writing extra stories or editing something or creating designs. Creating designs is a big one. Canva is this incredible app that, really facilitates creating these amazing designs for Instagram, but you need the time. And if I'm on the road, as I said, and I'm, reviewing a hotel, I just don't have time to do everything. So I call on some of those girls to help me with what I'm doing. But I'm going to get a VA to actually make it more official so they can actually do it for me as well.
I actually know someone, it wasn't me, who went out to dinner with Renae, and the place maybe didn't know that even Renae was turning up, but they clocked who she was very quickly. And my friend who went out with Renae said they just kept bringing like just food upon food upon food upon food. And it was quite insane.
It does happen, definitely.
But so, Renae, it's fantastic that you're training people, because I think that's such an interesting part of this. There is no sort of handbook on it.
To give back. It's not just about, I do have a very fortunate life. So I'm just having a flashback to I was in Paris 2 months ago, and I was reviewing the Hotel Plaza Athénée, which I think I've reviewed them 9 times. They keep inviting me because they said they just love having me there. It's just such a gift.
Win-win.
And they told me that the Christian Dior store across the road had opened a restaurant, and that the restaurant's not online. It's completely underground. You can only go there if you know someone. And they said, would you like to go? And I'm like, yes. And I went across the road to Christian Dior, the fashion store. I had lunch with Christian Dior cutlery, with Christian Dior napkins, with Christian Dior tablecloths. And the couple next door to me, because it's quite strange to be a woman on your own in Paris, were really lovely and took to me and decided to share their beautiful 3-layered ice cream cake with me. I just have the most incredible luck wherever I go. And that was probably one of my great sort of luxury experiences, certainly in recent times. I really loved it, and I created videos. And I actually discovered that in this store, which is about 3 levels high, and it has every Christian Dior handbag, fashion item, everything, you can rent it out and stay there.
Oh.
And it's some 40,000 euro a night.
Gosh.
But it means that you stay, and there's just one suite there, and that you can actually try on the clothes and, take photos with the bags. And you use the spa at the Hotel Plaza Athénée across the road.
Yeah.
So my point is, I get these once-in-a-lifetime experiences kind of all the time, which is just so fortunate. And it's really important to me to value that. And the way that I appreciate that is by giving back and by really helping young people. And we don't get any remuneration for the interns that we take on. I always say to them, I don't want to say that 100% of our graduates get jobs, but it's the truth that 100% of them go into jobs in the industry, which really is quite an achievement because it's very difficult to get a job in social media and to get a job in this sort of media space these days.
Yes.
I think too, because a lot of corporates don't really understand that area themselves, so they don't really know who to hire. But
I think that's right.
I actually wonder, so who was your kind of influencer? Who kind of influenced you to and trained you up to know what to do?
Yes. Have you had people who've supported you?
No, actually, I haven't. I've just no. I'm an only child. It's not a good quality to be a lone ranger, but it's something I sort of think about and try and work on all the time. But I think I have my own podcast, Where To From Here, as you mentioned, and I interview a lot of general managers, so they really inspire me. And I do have a couple of mentors around the world who I speak to on sort of a monthly basis who work in luxury hotels to talk about and remind me about the trends they're seeing, what's happening, the difficulties, what they think about what I'm doing, to give me feedback, criticism, all of that. Yeah, I definitely do that. You have to do that, though, to keep on top of things.
It sounds like you need to be a self-starter. Just to summarise here, it really does.
Yes.
How hard has it been, or what's involved in actually getting lots and lots of followers? Because I'm sure there's people listening who are trying to start things up online or social media. And how do you acquire these thousands upon thousands of followers?
Yeah, it's really hard. It is really hard. I think the key, and I'm looking at going into this more now, is giving more of yourself. And I haven't really done a lot of that, talking about, the sort of things we're talking about here, talking about who you are, the realities of it as opposed to the gloss. People are sort of over that, perfection moment, the sort of plastic surgery, airbrushed kind of, stuff. Although Kim Kardashian's made a fortune out of it, let's be honest. But, being more authentic is where it's at, and talking. I know there's a woman called Lisa. I've actually met her. She's Australian, and she was an alcoholic and is now sober. And she has been in that situation for some 6 years. And she has a brilliant Instagram called Imperfectly Lisa, I think she calls it. And it's just brilliant. And my point is that she really gives of herself and really shares and is vulnerable. And I think if you want followers, that is the most important and the quickest way to get them. But you have to be brave and you have to be even more than a self-starter. You have to be courageous and you have to be prepared to be disliked. Because even like with me, there's people that put horrible comments on my Instagram and there's people that don't like me. And it's like, well, I just realised they don't know me.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that because, being such a public person, is that the downside that people kind of, you get trolled and people criticise you or recognise you and you don't have any privacy? What are the downsides?
Yeah, I think that's it. But to be honest, I'm on the move so much that it's hard for people to even know where I am. And one of the things I've learned
She's an international woman of mystery.
I love it. Keep talking. I love this image you're creating for me. I often don't post in real time as a bit of a safety feature. Yeah. So if I'm in Singapore, I'm, online, I'm sitting in Sydney or something like that. I do that quite often.
Yes.
I'm single. I think it's very intimidating for men to date a woman like me because they're like, well, what does this mean? And, where are you? And how often am I going to see you? So finding the right kind of person who's a global person, that's one of the challenges. And of course, I've got children. I'm a single mum. I've got 2 children who are now 16. To be fair, balancing that relationship is obviously my priority, but to be fair, since I've been travelling more, our relationship has got a lot closer because we've been forced to communicate more often and we've been forced to use things like FaceTime and all of that. And for us as a family, it's actually brought us really close because I know what they're doing, I know where they are, they're on the Find My, so I can see them. If there's a time difference and I'm up and they're not, I can say, oh, okay, they're at their dad's, they're at school, they're doing this, they're doing that. So I sort of feel like I'm closer to them because of it, which is interesting.
I know. It's like you've got an international tracking system. It's awesome.
But Renae, have you ever taken a negative comment? Because I feel like, when someone reviews you, you kind of, oh yes, of course I'm fabulous. But, but if one person says one horrible thing, you can kind of tend to take that to heart more, I feel.
Well, some of us can. I suppose different personalities. Maybe Renae is cool bananas with it. What do you like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sticks and stones will break my bones and words will never hurt me. I don't care. Like, I just remind myself I don't know them. I do not know them.
Yeah.
If it's someone, even if it's someone that I know, but I just don't care. And often I don't even look at the comments because I just think, well, you meant to because it helps your SEO, which of course drives more viewers.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just think, I know, and my son doesn't actually know that I know this, but I know that at his school they've created some account, the boys, and I'm not the only mum, but there's a few mums on there.
Yeah.
And there's like a bikini shot of me like 17,000, years ago, because I've got some 4,000 or 5,000 images on my account. And they've put this on there and these comments, and I think gosh, that must be hard for him.
Yeah.
That must be, they're 16 years old.
Yeah.
There is all of that. But you just go, we're all human beings, and 16-year-old boys are going to do certain things, and 50-year-old women are going to say certain things because of their own issues. And any comment that anyone makes about you is about them. It's actually not about you. It's about something inside them that they're projecting and feeling insecure, angry, or, vulnerable
Jealous.
about. And they're sharing it in that way because that's the only way they know how to get it out there. And I think, well, that's really, knock yourself out. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's your
Exactly.
issue.
They're assuming, like human beings assume. We assume about people we don't know. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. I think, you're right, Amelia. Like, you should never assume anything. And I think, one of the other things for us all to really focus on is that, none of this is real. Like I'm saying, what you see on an Instagram account or wherever in the social media sphere, it's really not real. And I mentioned the Kardashians before, and I think they've demonstrated that a lot. I mean, even that TV show that was so massively successful, 3/4 of that wasn't real. All of the things we see that, people get free things, people, I know even my children, they sat down with me not long ago and they said, we don't understand how you're affording to stay at all these places because we added them up on the internet and it was something like $40,000 a week where you went last week. And I had to sit there and down and say, I don't pay for anything. And they went, we don't believe you. And I got out an invoice where there was $0. And I said, I literally didn't pay for a glass of water. When I was because I don't in these hotels, and it's hard for people to believe. But my point is that what you're seeing is not reality. I'm not paying for all of this. It's not really who I am. I'm the person in the cheap hotel on the nights in between going down for a local bottle of noodles, which I do on the street in Asia, and, texting my friend back in Sydney or whatever.
Yeah. So, Renae, you obviously stay in these fantastic places, and good on you for choosing that niche because I think that's much better than slumming it in the backyard or something like that. But what happens if you stay at a place or eat a meal that is actually not that great, and the expectation?
Well, pre-COVID was different because pre-COVID I would write about it, but since COVID I'm much more empathetic because I'm really aware of the challenges they're up against, and different parts of the world are having different challenges. Australian hotels right now are really struggling because we're just not getting the international visitors right now, for example. They're also struggling because they don't have enough staff, and a lot of the staff have left, and even finding new staff is really difficult. So if I go and do a review of a hotel here and it's not good, and it's likely not to be good because of the challenges I've just described, I will tell them. So I will go to them and say, look, this is the situation. I'll write a report for them and give them all the information, and I often won't write about it, but I'll say, fix all of this stuff, and when you're ready, I'll come back and help you and do another review. That's where I'm at the moment, which means that, it's not a true review, but at the same time, I just don't think it's fair with everything that the industry has been through to just annihilate a place when I know the reasons why, and they're genuine reasons. They're not underperforming because they can't be bothered or because they're lazy or because they're unaware. They're doing it because the whole industry has been through such a huge crisis, and it's not back where it was, and it will take a long time. I mean, Europe is absolutely booming. All of the hotels that are 110% occupancy and have been since about May this year and just continue to be. Bali is the same, but they've also got challenges because the staff can't cope with the numbers of people that are there.
Right.
They've gone from 0 to 100. They're getting no respite at all, not enough staff, and it's just crazy. So again, if I go there and have a bad experience, I'll tell them. I'll sit down with the GM and say, are you aware? And they don't know because they're working so hard as well.
Sure.
And they're not seeing everything as it is either.
You're like an undercover reviewer.
Yes.
Going to say this reflects very well on you, Renae, that you are so empathic. Yeah.
You're a mystery shopper. But,
Yes.
I am a bit. And then I've developed my own consulting business, so I now get paid to help them fix it up.
Yeah.
So that is what I really enjoy. So I'm talking to a hotel in Italy at the moment because they've got a few issues about going back there sometime before Christmas and working with them. I've got another hotel in Bali that I'm talking to, another one in Lombok that I just finished some work with. So I'm literally sort of consulting all over the world. And the great thing about that is that's where the real money is. Because that's the other thing I get asked all the time is like, how do influencers make money? Yes. And it is sketchy. You know, some people pay you to do a review, some don't. But I get a lot of sponsorship. So people saying, you know, can you write an article about my travel suitcases or whatever it is? And they pay for that. So you get money in really unusual ways, but the consulting business is a much clearer way to make money, which I like the sounds of.
Yeah, right. And do you often get invited to give like seminars to staff at hotels to kind of teach them how to do it better?
Absolutely. Well, the most common thing I get asked to do is to come in and I give a 1-hour talk on the future of luxury hotels.
Oh, good.
And I talk about all the things that I'm seeing because the future of luxury hotels is very different. Wellness and sustainability are shaping a very different world, as well as inequality, which is happening all over the world. The rich are getting so much richer and the poor are getting poorer, and even the middle class are struggling with the electricity and power costs in everywhere in the world, apart from Asia, because it's not happening there. So we're really seeing that come through in hotels and seeing massive shifts in people's habits. And so wealthy people, for example, they want to fly in a helicopter from the airport. They don't want to use the road. Yeah. They want privacy. They want to buy the whole hotel. That's happened to a couple of hotels in Thailand. They fly in on the private jet and buy the entire hotel for 5 nights. And I'm talking hotels where one room is $2,000 US a night. They book out the whole thing. They book out the bar. Like, it's phenomenal what's happening. Wow. But unless you're actually in the industry, you don't know that this is going on.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I was at the Bristol Hotel in Paris, and I was there to do a review, and I was sitting at the bar, and a random guy came up to me and said, "Oh, I'm David Beckham sitting over there, and he'd like you to join him and his friends for a party tonight." And I just was really rude to this guy, and I just thought, you can go and get stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, "Oh, and David Beckham's," because I didn't believe him. And he said, "David Beckham's paid your bill." And I'm like, I don't need him to, actually, because I was a guest of the hotel. But about half an hour later, I turned around and David Beckham was sitting there. So I had to go up and apologise. I was so mortified. I'd been so rude to his friend.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm really, really sorry. I just didn't think that he was telling the truth," and blah, blah, blah. And what ensued was David actually took over the entire bar of the Bristol Hotel, and he paid to have it closed down. About 50 of his friends turned up, and fortunately he forgave me, and I managed to party with David and his friends like all night in that hotel, which was amazing.
You do actually look a little bit
like posh.
You do look a bit like posh.
I know,
but she does. She does. It's true.
Everyone at home who's listening to this, you do not.
She does.
You do not. She's
much more gorgeous.
Extremely attractive, but
beautiful.
Yes, different from posh, except they're both brunettes. The end. The end. That's all. Yeah.
It is not the end, because I want to know, where does Barbie love to travel?
Oh, Margot Robbie or Barbie?
Both. Margot Robbie.
Well, Margot Robbie is a really big traveller. So she grew up in Queensland. She, obviously with her work, I mean, every time they're filming a movie, they go on location. She goes all over the place, though. She stays in expensive places. But generally speaking, Margot Robbie's really down to earth from what I've read. And she really stays in more affordable places. I think Tahiti's one of her favourites. We've written an article about it on my site. Yeah. But, yeah, she's pretty down to earth. I mean, I know that's well publicised that she paid off her mum's mortgage when she got her first sort of big paycheck. Her mum's a single mum and sort of really helped her with her career. She's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And she actually loves London. Her husband's English. She lived in Camden, which is a really groovy. Was it Camden?
Actually, Camden
might not have been Camden.
Is groovy if she lives there in London. Yeah. Yes, no, it is.
No, it was Clapham. It was Clapham, which is where lots of Australians live. And she lived in a big house with lots of like share house. I think there was 6 of them or something. And even though she was doing movies like with Leonardo DiCaprio, she was still in that share house. Like, she's so cool. So I know that London is one of her favourite places.
Wow, that's wonderful.
There you go. It's too fun to talk to Renae, but we have to let her go, don't we? We
do. I mean, I just want to know what the rest of your day is going to look like, Renae. Can you just give us a bit of a snapshot?
Yeah, well, so after this, I'm going on a podcast to Bali with the owner of a new hotel chain there, and he's actually got hotels all over Indonesia. Then I've got another interview with someone in Indonesia. And then I'm going to somewhere that's called the Bathhouse in Roselle, because they want me to do a piece on it. Apparently it's this incredible place for hot and cold, baths and facials and all that kind of thing. And then I'm going on a date tonight.
There you go.
Exciting. You know, and if you end up in a fabulous hotel, what would be the criteria for you? What are your must-haves in a hotel stay, apart from it being free?
Great service and kind people are the keys.
Right.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, anyone can build a beautiful hotel, but you need to have that really, really good service. And for me now, I mean, we're talking top end now. Having food that has nutritional value is critical, and that's what people really want. So gone are the days where people go on holidays and they come back with 4 kilos and burn it off. That's not happening anymore. They want to come back thinner, or they want to come back the same weight. So therefore the hotels have to really adapt and be aware of nutritional value of food, make sure they're not giving people high calorie food, and have lots and lots of options. So that's really important. I mean, I just stayed, as I said, in Bangkok, and I stayed at a hotel called Capella. Capella's just opened here in Sydney as well. And that's a fantastic luxury hotel brand that ticks all the boxes. Incredibly beautiful hotel in Bangkok on the river. They've got a boat that takes you to the nearby shopping centre in 10 minutes. This beautiful place to have breakfast overlooking the water in the open air. An incredible spa, and everyone who stays there gets to use the wellness facility for free, which includes a sauna and a cold bath and a big spa bath. Yeah, it's definitely one of my recent favourite, travel experiences.
Yes. And I feel like that is actually a trend, like people are much more into an experience at a hotel, like the boutique kind of experiences and a bespoke room that has artworks that are unique to that room and all of that sort of thing. Do you feel like that's more important now than just having luxury?
Definitely. And even they're taking it even further now. So at Capella, for example, one of the things I loved, I wish I had it here to show you, was this beautiful brown leather bag with this stunning satin, fabric lining, which was given to me to use during the stay. You give it back and you can buy them in the hotel for some $350. That's very high quality, for Thailand. And I just love that. I put that on my shoulder and went to the shops and felt really good. They also offer as a complimentary service to come and run your bath for you. I mean, how indulgent. This is just in a standard room. So, I'd like my bath in 10 minutes and they come in and do that. They've also got like a private butler box. So I'm thinking more for couples, which I was there on my own. But for couples, you ring and say, look, could you deliver 2 orange juices? And they put it there and they don't disturb you. So they pop it into your little butler box so that you don't have to see someone, because you might be naked or, no makeup or whatever it is. So, privacy. So that's that real bespoke. You decide if you're going to see the staff or not. You decide if you want the bath run or not. Luxury is really, as I said, it's going to the next level. It's incredible what is happening out there. Just wonderful.
As long as that person isn't in the bath when you get into it. But, it's really my criteria.
I feel that Renae has given us a really good kind of behind the scenes kind of look at the world of an influencer, etc., and more than that. But rather than smashing down our kind of feeling that maybe it's very glamorous, she's possibly, I know you work hard, but this is sounding very glamorous. Yeah. But it also does sound exhausting, which I think is kind of a good thing to kind of think about, like a bit of a balance for people to kind of go, do I really want to work that hard? Yeah, no, this is good. Do I really want my 15-year-old child to end up as an influencer? Maybe I do, but I don't want to myself. Yeah.
The other thing is that I think that you have to like yourself, because I'm by myself so much, which you can underestimate. I mean, as I said, I've just been in Bangkok for nearly 2 weeks. And apart from one friend that I know there who I had lunch with, every other meeting or lunch I had was a work thing, a GM, who become friends, let's be honest. Yeah. But I was travelling 100% solo the whole time. So, that means, I'm just on my own. And when I take that break, like I said, in a cheap hotel, I'm on my own. And I'm really happy with my own company and I really like myself a lot. But, 90% of my comments that I get from people, particularly people who know me and know the vast amount of time I'm alone, they say, how do you do that? Like they'll go to Japan. A friend of mine went for sort of 3 days recently on the way to London. She said, I'm just melting down. How do you do this? What do I do? How do I cope on my own? So, I really like it. And, if I am in a relationship, I like to go away on my own still and have that moment with myself.
Yeah. I feel that temperament would be very important in this. Yeah, extroverts may not like it, actually. Yeah.
Renae, I just have one final question for you before we let you go to your glamorous day. Who is harder to influence, your kids or your bank manager?
Well, bank manager's impossible because like they say, well, where's the regular income? And I go, there isn't one.
Right.
Good point.
So if you're borrowing money, the bank manager's a big problem. But yeah, the kids are constantly horrified about my about my job, about my Instagram account, constant screenshots, get this down, which I just ignore.
Thank you so much, Renae. It's been fantastic
thank you,
to
Renae.
explore your life and your job and shed a bit of light on what influencing is actually all about. So thank you so much for being.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
We love chatting and we really look forward to all of our special guests and to just chatting with you guys. And we'd actually love to hear from you. You know, we'd love you to send us flowers. I'm a dark chocolate person. What about you? You're protein bar for Dr.
I
Amelia.
am. I'm so healthy. It's disgusting.
But, you know, we'd love to know if there's burning issues for you. Contact us on hopepodcast.com.au if there's issues that you'd like us to talk about or you really want explored or you think you'd be an expert on. Hit us up and come on the podcast. Come on our journey with us. We look forward to your company.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.